Evening, gang. Evening. Hey, I'm waiting on Wardrobe to pop on here. He should be on in just a moment here. He said it'd be right about showtime. So I'm going to cover something tonight. I was fortunate enough I contacted Hermann Luttmann because he was kind enough last year to send me a copy of A Most Fearful Sacrifice. And I thought to myself, well, I need to return that favor. So I asked him if he had anything I could test play for him. And they happen to have this Miracle at Dunkerque. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat that when you see this, you're going to think, Hexy doesn't play these kind of games. Well, yeah and no. Definitely haven't played many, and definitely have not played one like this. Evening, Richard. Even Greg, Nord, Mike. Good to see y'all. Mark G's on. Here's the wardrobe. Got to have my wingman.
What's up, man?
The black screen.
What's going on there?
So, I'm in. The interesting part about this is you're also going to see this game displayed in a format that you never see Hexy do. But I'm assuming that I probably need to learn how to do this stuff. So I can't play this game any other way right now to test play it. So I got to play it in Vassal, and which is good because it's going to help me with Vassal, and it's going to get a good test play out this. Now, I was looking through Board Game Geek, which I'm going to change my screen over right now. Flip my switch here. So, Todd, you'll have to watch comments, I believe.
Yeah, okay. So, have you got to any of them?
No, go ahead.
Let's see here. Nordic, I'm contemplating getting the miniatures together to pick the 30th Brigade. Creating a miniature war game scenario for that Valiant Lost Stand. Greetings from Meandering Mike. Northern Gamers with Coffee. Hey, what's up, man? Richard's on. Richard Kerr. Hello. Jeff Anderson. Hello. Stacking Limit, hello. Hey, what's up, man? You got a lot of good guys on here. LG, I don't know what that name is.
Ig.
Ig. What's up, Ig? I need to learn how to use Vassal myself. Got to download, but haven't used it yet. Yeah, it's a little take skill you're getting used to. Jeff's starting to transition. I bet you will too.
Yeah, and we kind of got to because you and I got some plans going forward, I think. So.
Oh, yeah.
So I went over to Board Game Geek and I pulled this game up, and what a nice little picture. I mean, I don't even know what the box looks like because I was given a digital copy of this game. I don't think they might have one amongst themselves that they're using, but it's a Hermann Luttmann game. And like I've seen other comments around, if it's Hermann's game, it's going to be good. I've been emailing back and forth with Don Herndon, who's a developer and real pleasant individual. And, I asked them about, hey, can I shoot some video on this? And they were all for that. Do it. So we're going to do it. But like I said, we're going to show it to you in Vassal. So I was going through the ratings here on BGG of this game, and it's just comments. And I come down to this one. Where are we at? Right here. Made the cut in 2017, and it was still in development in 2020. So this game's been waiting a while, and I'm also seeing that it comes from the version of another game, which I saw it right here somewhere, A Spoiled Victory, which I'll have to go look up that later because I don't know anything about that. So, but I got this thing up, popped through the rules, was trying to look through the rules as thoroughly as I could to try to catch any errors. I think I found one typo and sent that on to Don, just a one-word typo. And as I was going through this game and I was looking at the components, I was like, man, this might be the first game I've ever seen where you could play it off the sequence of play and the cards and not ever have to read the rule book unless you go need to find something specific.
Oh, that's cool.
I know. It stunned me. Now I'm going to turn this.
But sorry. I just got distracted by that 50% off Revolution sale. I'm going to be a little distracted for a minute.
Oh, that little thing up top. I guess the Civil War. Oh no. Didn't we just send McMurray over there recently?
We did. Oh boy. Anyway, sorry everybody. I'll let me type in Revolution. I'll do it later.
All right, so I'm going to drop this down and I'm going to bring up the Vassal model in this game. I think I have one up here where I'm 2 turns in. So
while you're doing that, Iggy says Vassal usually isn't too bad. Vassal is pretty good. GCA CW is. I should. Nordic says I should. I don't know. Download some of the GCA CW. Yep, and they just got all the GCA CW, the On to Richmond Vassal mods done and I think posted. So that's cool if you're into that game. We talk a lot about that and how the reason it's challenging for some of us. And, I know the people who love it will counter everything we say about it, which is fine. I get it. It's really good in a lot of ways. So anyway,
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you are space confined,
it's amazing.
It's great.
Well, I mean, so just are you still pulling something up here? I can keep chatting.
No, I was just waiting.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
What is this? Miracle Dunkirk.
I had no clue what
I have
this
never
game
seen.
Was.
Oh, sorry.
No clue whatsoever. And I thought to myself, I didn't know that Hermann ventured in to area. Well, guess what? It's not just area. It's also point to point. Now, okay, a lot of you guys out there have probably played a ton of area movement games, a ton of point to point games. I have not. I've played one point to point game and I've played a couple of area movement games, but I've never played a game, or I've never heard of one. Nobody's ever told me of one where you have area movement and you have point to point movement.
Well, you can ask a real quick question before I answer that question. I almost was going to say I've never seen this before, but can you only move from white line to white line?
Okay. Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Because the point to point movement part of the game apply. Okay. Well, first off, let's see if I can, maybe this will help you all with that determination. This is a solo game only.
Okay.
And the Germans are controlled by a card bot.
Okay. That's cool. So you're trying to get out as allies.
Right. You've got the allies have two purposes in this game. All right. First off, the allies move area to area. So they can go literally all over the board. All right.
That's cool.
And adjoining spaces. And there's no terrain effects for movement, stuff like that. So this guy's movement factor, right? Does my mouse show up on? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's on there. You might just oh, that's cool. Maybe zoom in a little bit. I mean, it's showing the counter big when you go on it, just so we can see the board a little bit.
Any better?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So these guys, all the allies, and you have French and British, they can move through the areas. Okay. The Germans, which I say are bot controlled, they have starting areas, and they're all labeled starting with A over on this side, all the way around to Z. And
can you highlight a German piece? Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Right here.
So just hover over so it gets big and biggins.
Yeah, you're right.
So F, it looks like there, and tells you the division and 552 and the twos. Okay, all right.
Right. Now, these counters here on the right side of the screen that you see that are German, that are kind of a light gray with a purple, something I did not know about Dunkirk in 1940. They reorganized their units after they had gotten according to the way this game is, the Germans reorganized their units once they had all these troops isolated around Dunkirk. So a lot of these divisions, like if I flip this division, it might not be this one. Let me flip this one back over. No, okay, not him. One of these guys. Guess not. Watch, I won't find one now. All right, I think this guy right here. Yeah, see, he was a Panzer division. And they reorganized, and he became a mechanized unit. So, and that is an event card that ends up happening, or I can't remember. There's a rule in here where this happens under a certain circumstance, and it happened early. All right, so the whole deal is for the Brits and the French, delay the Germans while you try to evacuate as much as you can off the beaches, off of Dunkirk, and get them all the way back over here to Dover, where there's some new ships that just came in. All right. And you don't just get them to the beaches and boom, they're evacuated. You got to get them on the boats. Then you got to take them through all this. They have 3 routes, X, Y, and Z. Okay. And as you can see, U-boats down here on the Y route and E-boats. See this little Neuport German artillery way over here on the left side of the map?
Yep.
That hex gets bombarded. If a ship gets in there, it gets bombarded. Deb, good evening. Calais artillery, because the Germans had some large guns in Calais. So they were shooting any, and I've already lost a couple ships. All right. They were shooting the ships that are in this box here. And then the Germans overran and took Gravelines. And now they've got artillery in the Gravelines shooting in this hex or this square.
Wow.
So they're getting bombarded like crazy when ships go through there. Now, when you start the game, the X route right through the middle here is closed. And you start on game turn 2 rolling a dice. Boom. You got lucky, rolled the right number on game turn 2, and that route came open, which is good because you'll notice there's no artillery bombardment in there.
Okay.
All right. There's no U-boats. There's no E-boats. Okay. Now, the U-boats and E-boats haven't come into play yet down here. I'm sure they will. So let me bring up, just so you can get an understanding how this thing works. Here are the cards for the game. Okay. And you can see I'm in the middle of one. So there's no sort of sequence of play other than just you're doing these cards, and you have the phases, but once you get into action phases, you're flipping these cards nonstop. And there is a limited amount of cards, and when the deck is done, the turn is over. So you'll flip a card. Let's flip a card here because I'm going to restart this thing again. Oops. You just take it, you drag it in here, you use your turn order card. Now I've got the British Second Corps Ground Operations card. Okay. Now, what you can do with this is, close that, all the units on the map, the British units that are Second Corps, which I believe these orange striped ones are Second Corps,
I think so.
they have actions that they can take, like entrenching. If they're disrupted, they have to rally. You don't have any option. So if they have a disrupted marker on them, they have to rally. Disrupted units can't really do anything, so you got to rally them. There's a minefield thing, I believe, that goes out in the water. I had to get some clarification from Don Hermann on that one right there. They can move. If they're down here in this hospital, the Zudkudi First Corps Hospital, whatever it is, they can, if they've lost a step, they can regain a step. So that's pretty cool. And there's a point in the game where you can start converting these British units into evacuees and get them on ships.
Okay.
So that's now. The victory conditions are based on the number of evacuees you get to Dover. And Nord, I'll tell you about here in just a second how the movement works. We'll do another card. So the British units, when they move, and I'll give you an example. So they move area to area, not point to point. So this British unit could go 1, 2, 3. When a German unit moves, he has to go down their lane, down the point to point. So he would have to go point to point or backwards, point to point, which is extremely, I thought that was really, I was looking at this game and I set that up and said, well, why do you have areas on here when you got point to point? Well, I got that explanation really quick. The Germans move point to point and they're controlled by the bot. And the coalition, which is what you're playing, or the coalition, I got Napoleon on my mind. The allies, they move area to area. Now, I did notice when I set this up that this side over here, you've got Germans that started in Q and R. And you can see where they are now. They're already closing in because there was nothing. These French units are terrible weak. All right. All of the 3 corps for the Brits and the French have an artillery unit that is support. If the support unit is adjacent to a unit that's being attacked or doing the attacking, he can add his support value to it. Simple. Doesn't get any easier than that. And then you've got close air support. You've also got aircraft, which we'll get into that here in just a second. And then over here to the, I guess we'll say, I don't even know if it's east or west. I need a northeast and south. Oh, here we go. No, notice that's not on here. Anyhow, over here to the right, as you can see, the Germans are already in, what is that called there? Fort Vallier. And I don't have nothing in Dunkirk. Now, why doesn't Jeffy have nothing in Dunkirk? Because Jeffy didn't understand what he was doing when he started to play this game. All right. So you can bet I'm going to end up resetting, knowing what needs to happen, because you need to have this port open. Getting troops out of there is one of the easier places to get troops out of. So the whole time you're trying to slow down the Germans. You're trying to get evacuees. Now, evacuees are not just soldiers. You have a draw. Let me bring that up. When you do an evacuee, you have what's called an evacuation phase. And it's a card, you'll draw it, and then you'll get so many of these evacuation shits, which you'll just take one randomly, you'll drop it on a beach or wherever you're supposed to drop it, and you'll see you have 2 evacuation points that you're trying to get off. Now you have to get now I don't have anything loaded on a ship yet, all right? But there's a ship, I think underneath this guy, there's a large ship there, and he can handle 3 evacuee points. All right. This guy here, there's a ship under him. He can handle 4, so he can handle that 2 and probably this other 2 if he can get down there and get on that ship.
So you don't have to fill it up, but so you have to make those decisions, right? Because ships might need to get away or.
Yeah, and you got to get the troops back. And most of these ships, like the movement here for this one here, it costs no points to unload them or anything like that. So he's got a movement of 5, the last number. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the next turn he'll pop over and they'll be unloaded. So it's just it's going to be a constant flow of ships going back and forth, and you do have stacking limits for the ships in each square. So the reason why I took losses over here is because I had 2 stacks of ships coming down this lane here, and one got through to here. This guy got reduced, and 2 others got destroyed.
Yikes.
So, yeah, that's painful. And I don't see anything where you replace those. You just have a large ship or a small ship draw in the game. So I guess you can just – I guess you can reuse the chips. I don't know. I haven't got to that point yet. We got 4 evacuees sitting over here that are going to get on this ship here probably in the next phase that they get the opportunity. And you've got these beach hexes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where troops can go to. Then I don't know if you remember watching some of the movies, the guys were walking out into the surf. Well, there's your shallows where they can walk out to. And then you might get this random lucky event where you can pick up an evacuee chit and some small boats come in and grab them and take them out to the bigger ships that are out here in the larger areas.
That's cool.
Right? You can build jetties to increase your loading and unload, or your loading of evacuees.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what this thing is, this moly. I guess they pronounce it moly. I call it a mole. But they get a benefit for evacuation troops there. But the problem is if you lose East Dunkirk, you lose these 2.
Wow.
And the Germans are about to take it. So I need a phase to come up for the Allies, for the coalition to get in there.
Real quick, Nordic's asking if there's a Kenneth Branagh chit. I don't know if who that is being silly or.
I don't know. You know what? I don't think they have any
personal. They're named.
Yeah, I don't think they do. As far as I can remember, they don't.
Who is that? I don't know that. I don't know the story.
Kenneth Branagh was when he on the pier or one of the jetties or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
And just real quick, also Nordic, what little area movement games I've played, it's just pretty much like Hex and Counter, except for you just move area to area. And sometimes it might cost you something to cross into a different area. A lot of times areas will make it so like you can't cross rivers, like the river will divide the area. It's just the cool thing about them is that you can just have a regular have a real map and just make areas out of it. That's what some people do. Like you see a lot of Stalingrad ones like that. So it's just kind of just very simple. This is kind of an interesting mix of the two. Another thing you see in area games is obviously oftentimes the areas will have a number, and that's like their defensive factor and some other number. So it's kind of a thing, but this is a twist on it for sure.
Right. So. Well, okay. So did Kenneth?
Oh, that's why I thought he's an actor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but who did he play? Did he play General Gort or did he play Captain Tennant? Because wasn't Captain Tennant? Wasn't he the guy that was on the? He was on that pier that they were trying to get all the troops off there, where they had the ships come in and because I remember the start of the movie that I saw. I remember there was those 2 guys that acted like they were medics transporting casualties so they could get on one of the boats.
I never saw it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's not normally that wouldn't be my kind of movie, but that was really, really a good movie. So I actually enjoyed watching that. But yeah, I mean, that's the premise of the game. That so let's get up here to the cards again. Well, I'll show you the tracks real quick. So you've got So you've got sorties. You got Royal Air Force and Luftwaffe sorties, and each turn they start with 2. The Germans start with 3. The minute a Luftwaffe card comes up, the first thing that's going to happen is the 2 air forces are going to fight. And you might get cards, and let's see, we'll do an example here. See if I can get one here. Wrong one. Get out of the way. All right, let's see until we get one here. Naval operations, obviously, you're going to move your boats. Event cards, you're going to flip one of these things over. We'll come back to that. All right, there's a Luftwaffe attack. So when you get a Luftwaffe attacks card, you go down here and you flip the card over a German activation card. You go to the Luftwaffe section up top. All right, the first thing you're going to look at is the sorties modifier. which that one's a 0. All right. So his counter wouldn't move up. Sometimes you get a +1 or a +2, and he gets more aircraft, which is they need it because then they're going to fight the RAF they're going to do dogfights with the RAF. Okay. And how you do that is you roll. There's a roll for like a to hit, like say you have to hit on a 4 or 5, just like in minis games. Okay. And however many planes there are flying, that's how many dice you roll. So if there's only 2 British sorties flying against the RAF, they would roll 2 dice, and if for every one that's a 5 or better, a sortie gets dropped off the Luftwaffe. And then once that's done, you flip another. Now this is the bot. You flip okay. So John, what we do is when the turn order card comes up that says Luftwaffe attacks, you go down here to the German activation cards, and you flip a card, and then you look at the top light blue box right there. First thing you do is that sorties modifier says 0. You come over to your sorties chart, and wherever this counter is, they might get a +1, so they get another sortie. And then there's also stuff here where the Brits can lose stuff too. They use their sorties for something else because you have close air support in this game. Haven't had to use it yet, but I've got a feeling that's going to happen. And the first thing they will do in a Luftwaffe attack is they'll dogfight between the sorties. And all that is determining if the Luftwaffe is going to lose some sorties. So you would have 2 Luftwaffe sorties flying, so you're going to roll 2 dice against the sorties of the Luftwaffe. And it's 2 6-sided dice. And say the hit number to knock a sortie out is 5. For everything you roll 5 or higher is a sortie that's lost from the Luftwaffe. So now, if this Luftwaffe sortie here dropped 1, the dogfight's over. That ends. And then you flip another card to see where that Luftwaffe sortie is attacking. So this says channel route Y. They will attack. Close these up. And there's different places for them to attack. They might strafe the beaches. Okay. So they will attack every ship in Y. Everything that has Y, the RAF will go and attack every one of them, including this box right here. And it's a 2-hit thing where you roll. So if the Luftwaffe only has 1 sortie, you're going to roll 1 dice, all right, per box that has, Allied naval units in it. You're going to roll 1 dice, and if they get the hit number, like say the ship gets hit, he's in. Let's put him over here in Y. All right, let's say he's in Y. Luftwaffe flies in. The Luftwaffe has, we'll say 2 sorties. All right, he's got 2 sorties. All right, so you're going to roll 2 dice against this ship, and whatever the hit number is, you have to attain that hit number. Let's say he hits him 1 time. He's going to flip. Now he's degraded a little bit. If he gets hit again, he's eliminated. All right, and that's how all the combat works in this game. It's 2 hit numbers on your targets. Whatever you're attacking in combat, whatever you're shooting aircraft at, whatever you're shooting artillery at, it's a 2-hit number. You're going to roll so many dice. Just like I say, just like playing. Isn't it Bolt? Who is it? Bolt Action that plays like that? And aren't most minis games like that where you have to roll it to hit number?
Yep.
Yeah. And this game doesn't take it any farther. There's you roll to hit on the ship. The ship doesn't get a defensive roll.
Right.
It's just you hit him out. And you would think that this would be awful extreme, but it's really not. And I think it's actually done a pretty good job. So where I have failed, like I say, I did not understanding what I needed to. Well, I mean, I knew I had to evacuate things, all right? But you're going to notice that the Germans up here in 2 turns, they haven't moved. Well, these guys have tried to attack, but it was unsuccessful. But none of these guys have made an attempt to attack you. Just never drew. All right. All right, Mark. So I'm assuming the RAF is flying out of England, out of airfields in England, flying over the channel. I mean, there's no basis for them. You just have that chart for RAF sorties. And it only changes by if something appears on the card that tells it to change. It tells them they might get more sorties or not. And they do. It goes up and down for both of them. Okay. All right. And then the the big thing in the game is evacuation actions, which is simple. So the Brits always have a standing of 2. They say if you want to make the game more challenging, set this evacuation actions down to 1. So when you draw an activation sequence card, you go right to doing your evacuation actions. And every time you draw the card, if you have 2 actions in this thing, you always get 2 evacuation actions every time. There's only 2 evacuation sequence cards that get drawn during a turn. So you're going to get, if this thing was at 2, you're going to end up getting 4 total evacuation actions. And that means getting your troops onto the ships, all right, for the or creating evacuees. That's where you'll draw the green evacuation chip and drag it onto the board, all right, or getting them loaded or moving them out into the shallows, all right, that's an action. The naval action is when the ships move. So you won't be moving ships during an evacuation action. You'll move them. They'll get moved during the naval movement. And there's a card for that too.
Okay.
So the thing is not difficult. You just literally, like I say, you could play this almost without reading the rules. So there, I drew an event card. So I go to this deck right here, flip an event card. All German units not adjacent to an Allied occupied node immediately do a normal move, but not into an Allied occupied node. So that means they're going to move. Let's go find one here. I think everybody's okay. So like this German unit right here, he's not adjacent to a node. Yes, when you move an Allied unit, even though they move area to area, you got to put them on a node. Okay. So this German unit, he would do a normal move. He's got 2. He would go 1, 2. All right. These guys down here, the evacuees are there. They're not. That card says they cannot move into a node with an Allied unit. He would not be able to go in there. He, on the other hand, would be able to move down in there. All right. This guy over here, he'd have to move in. This guy over here, 1, 2. So they're closing on Dunkirk just because of that card.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's interesting because you never know until you see what card gets drawn. All right, and then channel attack card. I don't know how many. So you have an event. Let's see if we can get one in here. Probably not. No. All right. Well, I don't think so. I think that falls. That might be something that falls underneath a naval operation or something. But when you draw one of these channel attack cards, it's going to tell you which one. I need to find one because.
Well, I thought I just saw naval.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up the channel attack because I can't remember what the heck that was. There's something special that activates that. I've only had to use it once.
Keep going. There was one with a bunch of.
Oh no, I know what it is. I think it comes in here. The event cards, man. I haven't even been through there. U-boat attack. Then you would go down here and draw your channel attack card, and it would take you for U-boat.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you only pull those up when an event triggers one of those.
Gotcha.
But I mean, literally, your sequence of play is right here in these cards, and then when it's over, you have. I've got right in front of me actually. Let me see real quick because I never really had to look at this once I started playing. Sequence of play, turn setup, did that. And then you run through your activation phases. Oh, there's also a phase 2 where this general headquarters unit for the Brits, he never moves. Right now he's disrupted. He has 3 special command functions that he can do. Yeah, there is a Nord. I've got everybody spaced out where there's not, but there is a stacking limit for that. Haven't had to worry about that yet. So, yeah, he can do an intelligence report. He can do an Operation Dynamo, where you just draw an activation operations card and just go to town on that. It's like a free choice. He has 3 things: strategic planning, where he can take the recently drawn turn order card, like say a Wehrmacht activation comes up. He can say, no, you're not activating. Put that card at the bottom of the deck. So he can stunt what the Germans are doing. And then once he does that for the turn, then he gets this used marker put on top of it. And he can't do anything until the turn's over. But he has not been used yet. He's disrupted, so he really can't do anything. So I'm just now getting to the point in this one here where I'm starting to get the evacuees out. Like I say, these two are going to get on boats on the next activation card that I draw. He probably will. And then hopefully a naval movement follows it. And these guys are off and running to try to get these troops back over here. And then I was looking at the victory conditions on this thing. And it is, they've got en routes. If at the end of game, there's only 8 game turns, there are any evacuee units still loaded on board the naval units, saved from the beaches or the moles, but are still not yet at Dover, you get additional victory points for those units. You add up the VP values of those evacuees, and then you have them. Capture city penalty. For each of the 3 city nodes in the game that are controlled by a German unit, which are these Dunkerque ones down here, all right, you lose 3 victory points per. Or 5 victory points for each Dunkerque node and 3 big victory points for Neupoort, which is, I guess this is over here. So you're going to lose, you're going to lose 10 if you lose those 2, and another 3 if you lose these. And then your evacuees, you get points for your evacuees. Now, in order to win this, now here's how it says it. For a fair victory for the Allies, 70 to 74 victory points.
Wow.
That's a lot you're trying to get off of there. All right. And if you really, really, really good job, it says bloody good show, 85 to 89. So the whole game, I've realized, and like I said, I'm going to reset and start from the top again now that I'm getting a bunch of, I don't know, Chuck. I haven't seen any physical pictures. There's no files at all or images on BGG. So the ship's hidden knowledge, no, not really. Because, I mean, you're just now this first number on these ships, these guys have anti-aircraft fire. If they have a number there, and if they have an asterisk, which I don't think I have one of those on board.
Yeah, look down the left, bottom left, just behind that, below that one you were just talking about. Or is that a line?
It's a line. Yeah, I don't think I have one on here that has. But anyhow, if one of these ships has an asterisk beside the first number, the anti-aircraft number, then they have what's called long-range anti-aircraft firepower, which they can shoot a little. They can probably shoot farther away, or does. I haven't had to use yet because I don't have one on the map yet. But and a matter of fact, the ships that got attacked by air, none of them had any anti-aircraft ability on them. The minesweepers, haven't run into that yet too, but you've got mines that the Germans were flying and dropping mines into the channel. And that can randomly come up. And then you have these minesweeper ships that can go deal with them. So, I mean, you either go over here and you take, the Allies either go over here and take Gravelines back to get rid of this artillery marker, because every time a ship goes through there, they're getting shot at. All right. And then you're never going to take the Calais marker. All right. So that's always going to be shooting there. And you're never going to stop. You know, of course, it's random with the U-boats and the E-boats, whether you get attacked. Like I say, you're going to have to draw a card for that to happen. I mean, you could probably go through the whole game and it doesn't happen.
A couple more questions come up. Is there a limit to how many counters can be in an area?
Yeah, there is a stacking, I want to say. But
yeah, usually there are in these games.
Yeah, but I haven't run in. Well, with the ships, definitely, because that was important that I noticed that.
Okay. And then,
all right.
I'll wait.
No, go ahead.
What do the numbers on the ships indicate?
Okay, so I will tell you that the rules I have do not reflect these counters that are in the game, but let me find something here. Give me 1 second. Actually, he's pulling up some stuff here. They kindly sent me this player aid that's going to be, it will be incorporated into the rules. Or it'll be, oh, come on. All right, so they sent me this player aid.
Zoom in a bit if you can.
Come on. Oh, I'm already on the page. I don't know. I can enlarge this. Okay.
Probably view or control. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
All right. So, because I was looking, it was like, oh my God, man, there's a lot of stuff in here missing. But he actually told me this. So there's your. When I was talking about you had to roll to hit. That defense number is the roll to hit. So if you're flying 2 air sorties at this naval unit down here, you would roll 2 dice and you would have to roll higher than that 4.
Man, this is just like a minis game. What the heck?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And then you got your units, battle worn side. All right. and it's pretty simple: combat factor, defense, and their cohesion number. Okay, and then what track they're on, and then their unit ID and stuff like that up top. They got that, but he put a lot of little stuff in. Here's your stacking. Wait, where is it? Is it right there? No, this is your naval unit's arrival. This doesn't have the stacking on, I don't think.
All right. Are there any cards that either imply or states Hitler's thinking that not pressing his advantage and allowing most British troops to evacuate Dunkirk would make peace?
Nothing specific to that, no. Hey, that crossed my mind. So, but no, nothing specific to that.
Yeah, Mike's talking about a fantasy game he was designing. How is the weather modeled? Will weather affect sea conditions? Have you run across that yet?
No, I don't remember seeing. Well, I don't remember seeing anything about weather.
I wonder if that kind of like is reflected in some other ways, because it's like, I don't know, based on the time you got. There's your stacking limits on the left.
Yeah, for the water spaces. Yeah. No, I do not recall.
Which kind of makes sense to me. I mean, they talk about day and night, and I don't know. It's 8 turns, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, and also, okay, so yeah, you actually, now that you said that, you can see this day-night thing here. So when each new turn starts, you're going to start at day start up here, and there are certain things that happen that force you to push this to the next day marker, and then the next day marker, and then finally in the night. And you get a bonus to evacuees at night. And I am interested though about that the weather thing, because I know that the channel could be a nightmare at times. But seriously, I don't remember seeing anything in here about weather, unless there's an event card that triggers that, and I haven't seen one yet. So
yeah, I just don't know if maybe it's on the scale of the. I don't know.
It may not be. It may not be.
They might reflect that in like some of the card events or something.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing. I don't see anything here about that. So
that's cool. It's an interesting little concept. Who's it going to be by? Do we know yet? Or
yeah, Legion Wargames.
Oh, Legion. Okay.
Yeah, that, like I say, that little thing I saw in BGG where they approved it in April of 2017.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a while in there. And I was reading some of the comments people put about that, but they're starting to get tired of waiting for this thing. Okay, so you know me, I don't really play this stuff. This kind of, I mean, point to point I have one game that's point to point, but I have a bunch of area movement ones. I had to play a couple to get me going, and I love Mike Ranella's stuff for area movement. I just ordered those ones the other night, but this one here, when I started to play this and I realized what was going on, I'm like, man, this is fun. Because you don't really have to. You and I both play games, and I know a lot of the guys in the chat play games where we have multiple. We're playing both sides. We're trying to move multiple units. We know what we're doing on the other side. And this one you don't, because you never know what's going to get activated. And okay, so obviously I failed over here as the Allies because I didn't withdraw units down here to cover this. And then the Germans go ahead and they get that reorganization, and some of these units got a little stronger. And then they attack through, and I'm talking even when units are in entrenchments, their defensive number only goes up 1. So this game is not extremely difficult. If and I got a feeling I'm gonna get a hard copy of this because this looks really interesting.
Cool.
I'd have to say the biggest focus on this is your evacuees. All right, but in order to get them out of here, you've got to keep the Germans out of here. So you got to fight. And it's funny because I've always been under the premise that, Hitler stopped all the forces because he figured that there was a reason about Britain that he didn't want to just completely destroy them. And then, of course, there's the story about Goering saying our Air Force can take care of what's left there. But I don't ever remember reading anything about the German army closing on them, their armored forces, their mechanized and their infantry forces. I must have like completely missed that in any historical reading that I've ever done about them attacking. Because didn't they decide that once this was done, they were going to they needed to turn back into France to go take Paris and everything.
Right, I think so.
So this is because this is you like the early War West Front. I love the Blitzkrieg through France in 1940, Belgium and France and that. But it seems like when you get to this point, I don't know anything about it.
Well, right, and it's one of the reasons it's kind of a hard thing to game out, So this is a fun way of doing it. But yeah, I haven't really studied I've read bits and pieces, but my reading of France 40 kind of ends at, I don't know, I don't remember the case names, but yeah. I really do have a vague knowledge of this thing. It's like, oh yeah, I know Dunkirk, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. I know that they got on boats and got them out. I know they got what they 300 and some thousand, was it?
Crazy number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure don't.
And how did that happen? Is it because nobody pursued them?
I mean, I don't know if it's directly related to this, and people are probably going to be like, come on, guys. But they did ask, some of those guys to slow down and stop and stuff. Now, all the reasons, I don't know, maybe it was to because they didn't want to, he did not necessarily want to go to war with Britain because, for a variety of reasons, but his beef was with, France. And of course he wanted to, wipe out Russia. I mean, that was his.
Well, yeah. But I wish I knew what the specific reason was though, because didn't they turn around and once this was done and they left France, wasn't he all hot about Operation Sea Lion to cross?
Yeah,
and then he dropped it.
Well, yeah, he dropped it because Goering's it wouldn't have worked anyway. But the Battle of Britain didn't go so hot. So, well,
all I can say is, like I said, this isn't the kind of game you would see me play. But I got and it's in Vassal. That makes it even harder for me. But I got in here and I was reading through the rules, and as I was going through the section, I was like, oh, you know what? I don't need to read that. The card's going to tell me that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the cool thing about card games like this. A friend of mine, yeah, we were just talking about that Battle of St. Louis game, right? It's kind of driven by cards, which makes it nice. It's nice for noobs. Well, I don't know. It's just nice because it kind of helps you with decision making. It kind of is like, oh, well, I got to do this, or I got to work on this side of the board or whatever. So it is nice. Hey, Meandering Mike, I'm curious what other Dunkirk games, like what else is there? Because obviously Jeff and I have.
I only know of one other one that I've ever seen called Dunkirk.
Yeah. So what else are there? Many. I would think this does make for a good solo kind of play because it's kind of.
Yeah, this is kind of refreshing to do something like this where I don't have to know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I am curious. So, I mean, to me, it looks like the Germans are going to overtake all the Dunkirk and the beaches. Is there something else you could have done as the ally? I mean, do you feel like you got a lot of choices here? Because again, kind of looks railroady. But
yeah. Well, now that I've gone through 2 or 3 turns here, and I realize that okay, I've got to maintain this area here, and there's really not much. Okay, so like in these areas, you see these little triangles.
Yeah,
that's considered light cover, so they get a +1 defense number to that.
Yep.
So if you got a unit in there, and he's in an entrenchment, then now he's added +2. If you're in one of these black square hexes, that's automatic. That's hard cover. That's a +2.
So you wouldn't have put those evacuations in the ship?
Well, no. I think what I needed to do was
because
some of this stuff up here, I needed to pull it down and get over here.
Oh, wow. I mean, you could have got some of those guys down there that fast?
Yeah, well, I think I could have in 3 turns. I could have got some stuff over this way. So
okay.
Now also, too, is the French units that I had out here. What's this guy here? They're not very big. They're not very strong. I mean, none of them are massively strong.
Yeah, I've read that, John. It's a good book.
But I could have moved. I don't know. I thought, well, could I have moved them back in here where they could have got the hardcover? put them in entrenchments and in the hardcover, that would give them a +3. And the highest you can go, though, is 5.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Point to point, and which I've not played like any of except for like Path of Glory one time, and area games, which I played just a few of. And yeah, hey, I'll just let everybody know area games are a very interesting way to play games. Like there's so many Storm Over series, Arnhem, Stalingrad. There's Battle for Stalingrad. I mean, there's so many that have it, and they're really good. I mean, it's kind of a unique way of doing it.
The old Clash of Arms, I got all the old Clash of Arms Civil War campaign games. Those are all area movement.
Oh, they are?
Yep. Those 3 from ATO that are coming by Mike Ranella, those are all area movement games.
Yeah, Mike does a lot of them, I think.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all he does. And everyone that I played he does, the ones he had from Revolution Games were really good.
Oh, yeah. Did he do Celis and Patton's whatever? And
yeah, Cell, yeah.
Okay.
I think most of those were his.
I might have just seen those on the Revolution side if I had been there.
Look at Mike rattling off all the Dunkerque games.
Yeah. Well,
this one's interesting. And I think this one, I mean, it says the play time is 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I've got some more stuff to dig into this game. I need to learn. When I finally get around to it, I need to learn because building jetties is one of the things to help you get stuff off faster.
Right. Okay.
And you can actually, there's events that you can draw where you might increase your evacuations per turn and stuff like that. And I'm sure that's going to be a key to this. But like I say, the first mistake that I've made was here on this side because, come on, the Germans start right here. I mean, and well, okay, let me say this too. The fog of war in this game is what Wehrmacht activation, which I didn't show anybody. Glad you said that. I'm glad I said that. All right, so when you're going through your turn order cards, there won't be one now. Okay, when you get Wehrmacht activation, you go down here again, you flip a card, and you look at the bottom. Wehrmacht activation tracks Q and R. All right, so you go over here to Q and R, and anybody on that track is going to move, and they will move up to their limit to combat, to get into a hex or an area with a British unit or a French unit and do combat. That's what their whole purpose is. And then you do combat results, and you'll have retreats, you'll have disruptions, you'll have step losses. You have your combat actions or your casualties are called successes. And you have 0 success, 1 success, 2 successes, 3, 4, etc. And each one of those results applies something different to the fight.
All right, so that German will attack that one at 5 dice, trying to hit 4s.
He can't attack him. If he moves in here, he can attack him. He can move in there and attack.
Oh, they have to be in the same.
The Germans can only move down the lines. Yeah, and you move into the area and fight.
Okay, you fight in there. Not I was having him fight again. Okay,
right. So I mean,
so that's an area movement thing too. People, you move into the same space, you fight, and then
right. So if he moves in here, this guy's defense is a 2. He's in hard cover, so now he's a 4. So this guy's going to roll 5 dice, and he has to roll higher than a 4.
Oh, higher than a 4, not 4.
No, higher than a 4. And he, like I say, he cannot go any higher than a 5.
Okay.
In defense.
Well, yeah, because then it's a 6.
Yeah, so then you'd have to roll 6s to hit. And depending on the okay, so let's say you roll 5 dice, and you only get 1 hit. Okay. And this is kind of the key concept of this game right here. You get here it is right here. 1 success. That's called 1 success. The result is a standstill. The player applies 1 success against the allied unit. All right. An attacking German mechanized or infantry unit must retreat. So they win the battle with 1 success, but the German has to retreat. The Panzer unit will remain in the node. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I read that wrong. Must retreat back to the node it occupied before entering the combat, and the attack is halted. For a German Panzer unit, you roll a dice again against the unit's CN, their cohesion number, the farthest number to the right. That's not their movement. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. If it's less than or equal to their cohesion, they will continue the attack. So they will fight again in the same space. And if they fail it, then they're going to retreat and they're going to be halted, or they remain in the node and it's halted.
Okay.
Now, your successes for the allies, you can do step loss, you can do retreat. There's actually 3 of them. Where is it? So they can do step loss, they can do retreat. Oh, come on. Casualty hit. Okay. So if you have an entrenchment, you can destroy an entrenchment. You can take a casualty hit and you can do a retreat. Okay. So, but you can't do multiples of retreat. So you say they got 3 hits on a unit. You can destroy his entrenchment if he had one. Then he can retreat one area, or retreat how many ever it is. It might be 2 or 3 areas. And then they got to take a step loss.
Okay.
So the only one you can do multiple of is the step loss. So it's an interesting system. I got a feeling that by the time I finish playing through the whole first game of this thing, it'll be a no-brainer to play this. And you got to, like I say, that's refreshing sometimes to have a game you don't have to constantly dig. And believe me, these rules are 26 pages. Well, we'll say 25. And they are small print, 2-column. But like I say, a lot of these you don't even have to look at it until you draw an event, or you're going to do combat and you want to go look at the combat process. You don't really have to do it until you hit one of those events that you need to go look at. But I can't imagine that this map board looks this good on Vassal, what it's going to look like, in a hard production. Nothing fancy on this one. It's now these aren't the final rules, and like I say, this has the counters in the rule book aren't there. It's not. Put it this way: this rule book's 2021 version 0.8, and the counters in here have the unit designations out here on the side, and this is laid out differently. So that's why he provided that player aid card. Stuka Joe, good evening. Thanks for popping over.
Hey, sir.
Like I say, these units up top, these German units, I haven't drawn an activation for any of this stuff up here.
So you're going to reset and start over?
Now that I moved all the stuff around, I definitely got to, because I want to play all. So this is just an intro. I know that I'm missing stuff. There's no doubt, because there's, the events list it's not overwhelming, but there's quite a few events, and I want to master the evacuation operations event or draw card. And I want to master the naval and see, not like I can go anywhere and get any examples. So unless one of the developers or designers can give me some hints on this. So I'm going to keep, and I like it. I mean, and for those of you that have been watching me test play the Glory and Empire, I've played 3 more turns of that, the Napoleonic one from Lock and Load. And I'm still having a blast with that. And I think I'm getting ready to transition into the advanced rules on that one. I need to bust my chops on that. And I still got Nave versus Wellington over here going on, which I'm not taking that down because that's fun. I'm having fun with that one too.
Cool.
But again, this Miracle at Dunkirk it's a Hermann Luttmann game. Like I say, it's going to be good if it's Hermann doing it. Don Herndon is the developer on this thing here. The artwork is put my glasses on. Sorry. Fred Manzo is also part of the development. Now, Fred is he's a guy that worked on a lot of the Blind Sword stuff. I got a lot of input from him on the Blind Sword. So go ahead and answer Nord's question.
Well, I played one turn of the French. It was enjoyable. So I got to get through some more turns. But thank you. Yeah, yes, I think I like the concept of it generally, but it's kind of far out to tell you yet, but I think so.
Yeah, he and I are gonna dig into that too. That's our new favorite SCS game.
No, it's my new favorite GCACW game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so development is Don Herndon, and Don's been communicating with me, and Fred Manzo. Randy Line is the production guy. Game art is Edmund Hudson, Tim Allen, and Randy Line. And playtesting so far in this, like I say, this is 2021, is Fred Manzo, Fred O'Sullivan, who I know that name too, and John Wild. They got a couple books here they listed. Dunkirk, the complete story of the first step in the defeat of Hitler. Dunkirk, Fight to the Last Man, The Battle of Britain, 5 months that changed history, and Dunkirk 1940 Operation Dynamo. Now, Todd, you and I both played France 1940 or France 40.
Correct.
And they have 2 scenarios in that game, Sickle Cut and Operation Dynamo.
Yep.
And I don't think either one of us played Operation Dynamo. I know we both played
I did not.
Sickle Cut.
I've only played that one time. That needs to come to the table again.
But yeah,
Did you play Blitzkrieg Legend enough to get that far or no?
No, not a chance.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's deep into the game.
Oh, yeah. I got Panzer units so close to getting to the coast, but that was about it. I had to tear that. Oh, yeah, my cats messed up the counters. I had to take the game down. Stugato, you're definitely going to pick this one up. This is a larger and more nuanced version of Hermann's. Yeah, that's what we were talking about that earlier, because I kept reading these comments saying that this is a re-release, but I kept looking. I'm like, I don't see Miracle of Dunkirk anywhere. And then I read the comments and it was a spoiled victory. So, Joe, let me ask you a question. Does this game resemble a spoiled victory, or does this look like a whole different twist? I mean, I could probably BGG and see that, but Joe's probably played all these things. So
yeah, this looks like a good game for him to have on his channel.
Yeah. I'm going to play this all because this is fun, and this is going to help me get a better handle on Basel. So that's right now. That's the only files are out there. As far as I know, there's no hard copy of the game. Plus, I know they want to get this one published pretty quick, so I hope I'm helping out a little bit. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know what the sticker on this thing's going to be, but if it goes into release, okay, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. And that's what I think. Fred Manzo was trying to tell me, that this is not a new game, that it's more of a new version. So, but like I said, all I can tell you is this: the easiest way for me to explain this is, this is not my type of game, but I'm enjoying this one. So, so it is on pre-order. Okay, good deal. All right, unless there's any other questions or anything you can think of, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to play it some more, and then I think give me a week or two with this, and maybe I'm going to come back with another video of the outcome of this thing and any more details that I find. I think this one's going to be a keeper, no doubt in my mind. And whether or not, they've been working on it for a long time. So unless there's some more modifications that haven't been done yet, I can't, just from my first sort of touch of this game, I can't see where it needs anything to be changed. I think my strategy needs to be changed. That's about where that goes.
All right.
But I'll thank everybody for getting on here. We did this about an hour. That's a good deal.
Thanks.
Todd, thanks for troubleshooting the commentary for me.
Yep.
And everybody, have a great evening, and look for more on this. Look for more on the Napoleonic stuff I'm doing. Everybody, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks all. See ya.
See ya.